Welcome back to another episode of Talking Lamar. It's Mother's Day weekend, and I honestly couldn't think of a better way to honor the woman that raised me and made me, for whatever the good is, made me what I am today. And we've got a couple of stories that I've told over the years, and that's what we're going to do. So y'all hang on and let's get to it.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about.
What are you talking about?
I am talking to you.
That's just what I was talking about.
It's Talking Lamar.
You know, when I was growing up, my brother Troy was 11 years older than me. And so I've got a lot of memories of him, taking care of me and being my really best friend and my hero and everything else growing up. But then he went off to college and he got in the Army and he went to Korea, so he was gone for a good bit. And that left me and my mom to just hang out. And I mean, we were together all the time. And she was a huge, huge influence on my life. And she didn't take no crap, buddy. She did not. No crap whatsoever. I mean, when she said jump, I need to know how high. I mean, she was that way. But she was, and she was very loving and, everything. But I really paid attention to her. And so she was a huge influence. And my dad was a great man. He was a great man. He had a problem with alcohol. When he wasn't drinking, salt of the earth, and we had some great times. And then, of course, y'all, if you've been listening to the show for a long time, you've heard me tell tall tales about his escapades and whatever, and I always make that stuff funny and stuff. But my mom, she had a tough life. She was a hard worker, and she made sure everything got done. She was very organized about stuff, and she loved me and my brother to death. I mean, she really, really did.
Lamar, can I say that when I think about your mom, the word that comes to mind is steadfast. That was one steadfast woman. She was a steadfast Christian, a steadfast mama, a steadfast wife, a steadfast neighbor. That woman had the patience of 10 and a heart of gold and an iron will and never wavered. Like, that's what I think of when I think about your mom.
Yeah. She was a rock. I mean, she really, 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 she was a rock. And she had tons of friends. She was quick to help people. I mean, but she was also quick to tighten somebody up. I mean, she once again, when I say she didn't take no crap, that ain't just from me. That is from me. That's from my brother. That's from my daddy. That's from anybody. I mean, she did not take any crap. I mean, she did. And she was quick to set you straight. But I don't know. We had so many conversations because we live way out of town in the country. So we had about a 12-mile drive to get to town and to school and to whatever. And so we had conversations about just every possible thing. I mean, she talked to me nonstop, and I talked nonstop to her. And so, yeah, it was an interesting childhood. It was a great childhood with all the other craziness. It was fantastic. And every bit of that fantastic part came from my mama, Doris. The first thing that we're going to do is the story that we call My Sad Mama. Mama loved for me to visit. She wished I would come every weekend. And I lived about an hour and a half away, and my brother lived about an hour and a half away the other way. And so my mama was always expecting us to show up. And sometimes it would really get tough because she would be sad if we didn't show up. And I caught some stuff about it. So here we go.
We're impersonating our parents this morning on the show, and it would not be a complete hour if our buddy Lamar did not join the conversation. Hi, Lamar.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're doing fine.
When I got married and moved away from home, I lived about 90 miles away. And so we try to go down to visit maybe once a month or so. But it would never fail every Sunday morning, and we didn't have caller ID. So the phone would ring, and I'd pick it up, and it would be my mama. And she'd go, hello? And I'd say, hey, Mom, what are you doing? Sitting here looking out the window thinking y'all might be driving up. the fact that you're talking to me and I'm still laying in the bed 90 miles away, she goes, I know, but I was just hoping. What's your plans for the day? And this conversation would go on for probably 30 or 40 minutes.
And if you didn't have any really concrete plans, which sometimes you don't on a Sunday, it was like you have no reason not to be there with your mama.
Man, I was coming up with, I was having heart surgery. The house was on fire.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it would just be. And after a while, I'd be sitting. If I was sitting in the living room, I'd be sitting there, and I'd just start sinking down in the chair. And my wife would be sitting across the thing, and she'd be dying laughing because I'd just start sinking down in the chair. And sometimes while I was talking to her, I'd take my hands, I would act like I was hooking up TNT to my chest, and I'd push the plunger. I'd take my hand and I'd make my finger out like a pistol, and I'd pull the trigger to my head, and it wouldn't go off, and I'd keep spinning it like I was playing Russian roulette. I mean, this happened, and she'd be on the other end going, I hadn't been feeling all that good. I mean, there was, and here's the next thing. About halfway through the conversation, she'd go, you remember Betty Ann? I go, yeah. Goes, she got cancer. And I mean, she would there was never a good news phone call. It was never a good news phone call.
Oh my God. And you have that image of her going, I'm looking out the window, hoping to see your face.
And I say, well, Mama, why don't you drive up here? It's so far to drive up there. I said, well, it's about the same distance from here to there. He just, but it just seems so much further.
Yeah, it's uphill.
I mean, she would just suck the life out of me. And, and it would almost be like I should just get up and go, because when I get off the phone, I have no desire to live, much less do anything else for the rest of the day.
Driving from South Carolina to Georgia is quicker because it's downhill.
Yeah. And what I would do is I'd wait about 30 minutes and I'd call my brother, because he lived 90 miles in the other direction, deeper into Georgia. And I'd wait about 30, 40 minutes, and I'd call my brother, and he'd go, oh, God, I just got off the phone with her. Because she would call us both. And so what we would try to do is we would go down the same weekend, because I'd get to see him, and we always have a lot of fun, and it would be a lot of fun. And sometimes Mama would we'd both get there, and she'd go, it'd be better if y'all would get on opposite weekends. I said, but Mama, you got us all together. She goes, I know, but she said next weekend there won't be nobody here but me and your daddy. And he's going to be passed out in the chair.
Oh, Lord have mercy, Lamar.
I mean, she would just kill you.
Give it to us again. What you would hear, the first thing that you would hear.
Hey, what you doing, Mama? I'm just sitting here. I'm looking out the window, thinking y'all might be driving up.
And you got the visual. Don't you? She's in her house coat. Oh,
the sad thing is, if you could call Pugsley right now, that's what he would say.
I know. That's right. It is.
It is.
Well, thanks for getting me up, Cher.
It is awful. And here's the deal. For everybody that's listening to this and you getting that same phone call, my mama's been gone for a long time, and I'd give anything if I'd have got it in the car and went a few more times. I really would.
Well, between my dog and what you just said, let's all just have a big old cry. God, give me a break, y'all.
Bye, Lamar.
God, mamas and dogs wishing that you'd come. Give me a break.
You know what? I know what she was doing, too, because I know her. She's got a pretty devious mind. She was setting this up so that when she did finally pass away, the guilt would just eat me alive. Wherever she's at in heaven, and she's sitting there playing cards with some other woman that's making her kids feel guilty, she's going, oh, yeah, it's killing him right now.
That's right. It's what they do.
That's one of my favorite stories to tell. But it is. But at the same time, I want to say this. I would give anything if every time she had looked out that window, I would have been driving up. And I would give anything in the world right now to have one of them depressing phone calls just to hear my mama's voice, because I miss her dearly. I really, really do. Now, this next story highlights my mama and how she handles adversity.
I love this one.
And this is basically, I guess, a normal Christmas at my house. Take it away.
All right, your daddy meant well, but it didn't turn out well. And People's Movie Critic is back on the line with a story about his dad. Hey, Lamar.
Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
Good. Is it about you or your father?
It's about my father. As we all know, my father was a drunk. And so at Christmas time, we would all open gifts on Christmas Eve, and we would all sit around and do that. Well, by the time we would get halfway through gift opening, he would be passed out because he'd be just done. So he's passed out about 7 o'clock p.m. So we all go to bed, and so now he's sleeping or passed out from 7 o'clock all through. Well, my mom was pretty much the person in charge of Christmas. She had a direct line to Santa Claus. She was the one that let Santa Claus know what it was. My dad had nothing to do with that, okay? He had no connections. Mm-hmm. And so on Christmas morning, it was a big deal for my mom to see us all, come in and my brother and I see what Santa Claus brought. Well, my dad, one year, he's been passed out since 7 o'clock, so about 3:30, 3:45 in the morning, he comes too. Well, he's had a good night's sleep. I mean, he's ready. Mm-hmm. So he gets my brother and I up to go in and see what Santa Claus has brought, and leaves my mama asleep in the bed. So we're in there, and we live in a single-wide trailer, and we're in the front room up there in the living room, and we're all excited and everything is going on. Well, my mama wakes up about halfway through this, and mad is not the word. Mad don't even begin to start it. She jumps out of the bed, and she comes through the hallway, and if you've ever been in a single-wide trailer, back then they were very narrow, and you had sliding doors for the bathrooms and everything. So somebody had left the sliding door out 3 inches, and she catches her pinky toe on her right foot on that sliding door and breaks it.
No.
So not
Christmas
only
morning.
did your daddy steal her Christmas.
Oh, yeah. He stole the thunder. Her toe is broke. She's hopping on one foot, and she's using some language like you cannot even imagine. I mean, she is letting it roll. Well, my brother had got a tape recorder for Christmas, and he got it on.
Uh-oh.
The whole thing. And I mean, she is, oh, brother. So she, she's calling my dad everything but a good man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, she is letting it go. So she sits down, and my daddy says, well, Doris, let me look at it. Just let me look at it. And he's still about half hung over. He goes over, and she goes, don't touch it, don't touch it. He goes, it's fine, it's fine. And he leans down, he looks at it, and it's out at a right angle. I mean, it's almost looking at her heel. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So she looks up, and when she looks away, he's thinking he's going to help the situation to bring it back around. So he grabs that toe and straightens it back out. Listen,
tape
man,
recorder?
She come out of that chair like you put turpentine on a cat's butt. I'm here to tell you.
And who hasn't done that? Hey, there's my next Purina spot.
Oh my God. I'm telling you. She went into a tizzy, and my brother, he's holding the tape recorder, he's holding the microphone up to her mouth, and she slaps him out of the way. It was an extravaganza. It was 2 or 3 hours before we ever got that calmed down.
It is so sad that this didn't happen within a few years of now, because that would have so made America's funniest videos.
Oh, you'd be a star on YouTube.
You would be.
My brother only got to play it back one time, and my mama made him erase it.
Oh, that was the next question.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you couldn't say
No,
that.
I knew that was gone. I knew no mother's going to allow that.
No, that was a side of her that you didn't get to see that often, and oh, buddy, she was letting it go.
So I guess your father's doctoring didn't help.
No. But see, my father thought automatically that was the way to go. I mean, this is a man who pulled his own teeth with a pair of pliers. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The idea of going to the doctor was ridiculous.
That was just an expression, right? Pulled his own teeth with a pair of pliers?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
That is
he yanked his own teeth out, Lamar?
It's not. He just pulled one. I think he learned his lesson after that.
How do you do that?
Oh God, I don't know. It makes me cringe to think about it. I remember the day it happened, and I tell
Were you there?
Were
you watching?
I saw what he was fixing to do, and I turned away.
I would have
when
to.
I turned back, there it was. You don't even want to talk about it. It was a mess. It was a mess.
Enough.
I know Bob can't take it. I didn't like it either. But
I don't know how you got to where you are. I really don't know how you got to where you are.
It was listen. We lived in a single wide trailer in the yard of my grandmother, and they lived in the old house. And the previous caller was talking about killing the chickens, and my grandmother killed all the chickens. But she would there was two ways she would do it. She would either wring their neck, and she really didn't like doing that, so she would hang them up on the clothesline, and she'd take the butcher knife, and she'd take a big swap and come across and cut their neck, and they'd hit the ground and start running. And hence the phrase, running like a chicken with its
head cut off.
I'm here to tell you.
How did she attach them to the clothesline?
They can run for a while.
Do they? I mean, seriously, I think we talked about this once. They really do?
Yes, they did. Listen, my grandmother, when I was a kid, my grandmother, they had a big house, but that was back before they put bathrooms in the house. They had the whole outhouse and everything. Oh, yeah, we had outhouse, the whole deal.
No, you see, they've been putting bathrooms in houses, Lamar, for like a century.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Well,
Baby, how did she attach the chickens to the clothesline?
She would take a piece of wire. She had loops up there out of wire, and she'd just run the chicken's head up in the loop and tighten the loop, and then she'd come back with the butcher knife and whack.
So the chicken would be hanging from the clothesline by its head.
By its head, yeah, and it'd be squawking around. And when she come across, and she had a good aim too, so she'd cut it just right. It'd be right shoulder height to the head, and the chicken would hit the ground, and it'd run around for probably 45 seconds or so, and then once it quit running, then she's ready to go.
Al-Qaeda would say this is too much.
Oh, yeah. Them was the days.
Doesn't it kind of blow your mind you have a kid in medical school?
Yeah. And I got a kid in medical school, and I remember using an outhouse when I was a kid. So
you know what else blows?
Your family's come a long way.
You know what else blows your mind when you kind of step back from it, and you look at the people who do this radio show, and you look at their childhoods? It's kind of a commonality.
Yes, there is.
Could be different parts of America.
Well, this is how show people become show people.
You know, do you think that's the truth?
I do.
I think so.
People who have normal, decent upbringings,
They don't go to
they
this type
become
of work.
normal, decent members of society.
They do, don't they?
This is how you become carnival folk.
Well, that's going to wrap up another exciting look into the life of how I was brought up and sort of how my mama brought me up. And I hope y'all have had a good time listening to it. I've had a good time remembering it all. Listen, I still got more talking to do, so don't stop coming to listen, because you know I hate a quitter. And listen, maybe you've had some experiences like this with your mom or some special things that's happened at your house with your parents. Love to hear from you. You can go to our website and go down there and hit that little microphone and just talk all you want to, and we'll be glad to listen. So listen, y'all have a great day. Until then.